to recreate that bipartisan spirit to get this problem solved. Now, with respect to the National Guardsmen and women, I have authorized up to 1,200 National Guard persons in a plan that was actually shaped last year. So this is not simply in response to the Arizona law. And what we find is that National Guard persons can help on intelligence, dealing with both drug and human trafficking along the borders. They can relieve border guards so that the border guards then can be in charge of law enforcement in those areas. So there are a lot of functions that they can carry out that helps leverage and increase the resources available in this area. By the way, we didn't just send National Guard. We've also got a package of $500 million in additional resources because, for example, if we are doing a better job dealing with trafficking along the border, we've also got to make sure that we've got prosecutors down there who can prosecute those cases. But the key point I want to emphasize to you is that I don't see these issues in isolation. We're not going to solve the problem just solely as a consequence of sending National Guard troops down there. We're going to solve this problem because we have created an orderly, fair, humane immigration framework in which people are able to immigrate to this country in a legal fashion. Employers are held accountable for hiring legally present workers. And I think we can craft that system if everybody's willing to step up. And I told the Republican caucus when I met with them this week, I don't even need you to meet me halfway. Meet me a quarter of the way. I'll bring the majority of Democrats to a smart, sensible, comprehensive immigration reform bill. But I'm going to have some help given the rules of the Senate where a simple majority is not enough. Okay. Last question. Major.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Two issues. Some in your government have said the federal government's boot is on the neck of BP. Are you comfortable with that imagery, sir? Is your boot on the neck of BP? And can you understand, sir, why some in the Gulf who feel besieged by this oil spill consider that a meaningless, possibly ludicrous metaphor? Secondarily, can you tell the American public, sir, what your White House did or did not offer Congressman Sestak to not enter the Democratic senatorial primary? And how will you meet your levels of expressed transparency and ethics to convey that answer to satisfy what appear to be bipartisan calls for greater disclosure about that matter?
There will be an official response shortly on the Sestak issue, which I hope will answer your questions. You will get it from my administration. So, and it will be coming out. When I say shortly, I mean shortly. I don't mean weeks or months. With respect to the first, I can assure the public that nothing improper took place. But as I said, there will be a response shortly on that issue. With respect to the metaphor that was used, I think Ken Salazar would probably be the first one to admit that he has been frustrated, angry, and occasionally emotional about this issue, like a lot of people have. There are a lot of folks out there who see what's happening and are angry at BP, are frustrated that it hasn't stopped. And so, I'll let Ken answer for himself. I would say that, we don't need to use language like that. What we need is actions that make sure that BP is being held accountable. And that's what I intend to do, and I think that's what Ken Salazar intends to do. But look, we've gone through a difficult year and a half. This is just one more bit of difficulty. And this is going to be hard, not just right now. It's going to be hard for months to come. The Gulf, this spill, the Gulf is going to be affected in a bad way. And so my job right now is just to make sure that everybody in the Gulf understands. This is what I wake up to in the morning, and this is what I go to bed at night thinking about. The spill. And it's not just me, by the way. When I woke up this morning, and I'm shaving, and Malia knocks on my bathroom door, and she peeks in her head, and she says, did you plug the hole yet, Daddy? Because I think everybody understands that when we are fouling the earth like this, it has concrete implications not just for this generation, but for future generations. I grew up in Hawaii, where the ocean is sacred. And when you see birds flying around with oil all over their feathers and turtles dying, and that doesn't just speak to the immediate economic consequences of this. This speaks to how are we caring for this incredible bounty that we have. And so sometimes when I hear folks down in Louisiana expressing frustrations, I may not always think that their comments are fair. On the other end, I probably think to myself, these are folks who grew up fishing in these wetlands and seeing this as an integral part of who they are, and to see that messed up in this fashion would be infuriating. So the thing that the American people need to understand is that not a day goes by where the federal government is not constantly thinking about how do we make sure that we minimize the damage on this, we close this thing down, we review what happened to make sure that it does not happen again. And in that sense, there are analogies to what's been happening in terms of, in the financial markets and some of these other areas where big crises happen. It forces us to do some soul searching. And I think that's important for all of us to do. In the meantime, my job is to get this fixed. And in case anybody wonders, in any of your reporting, in case you're wondering who's responsible, I take responsibility. It is my job to make sure that everything is done to shut this down. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean it's going to happen right away or the way I'd like it to happen. It doesn't mean that we're not going to make mistakes. But there shouldn't be any confusion here. The federal government is fully engaged, and I'm fully engaged. All right? Thank you very much, everybody.
Much of the President's news conference related to the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. And we take you back now to live coverage on Capitol Hill of a House Judiciary Committee hearing.